was a girl each week, Sunday we would go to church, pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word, consecrate the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two. Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still. Now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. Questioning child's face, say it's not a testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament, I tell you that it can't be done. Morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. Made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. There used to be a world out there, heaven second rate hand me down. I walk it with a reverent day. Everything is holy now.
Thank you, Lord be band. Good morning, Jubilee, and happy May Day. Is there anyone here for the first time this morning? Well, I'd like to welcome you. Welcome. And each of you, if you would, please look around and say hello and good and happy May Day to someone. So as we come back into this moment of restoration, as we know it, what is restorative energy? What are we doing to go back to pre-COVID? Do we go back to pre-COVID? These questions are maybe some of the dinosaurs asked back in the day. Do we go back to the way it was? And maybe there was no way to restore that because the universe and the earth had made a decision. And perhaps that's what's happening now, is an opportunity for us to restore faith in our ability to create the future, to take what we've garnered and learned from the past, to take that information and wisdom that our ancestors so willingly and lovingly provided for us through prayer, through how they worship of the air and the earth and all living things, especially on this day of May Day when we come to celebrate life and to restore the memory of the sacredness of love. Love and sensuality. Sensuality as we begin to garner our feelings and learn and restore our faith in being able to speak our truth of how we feel inside our heart and our spirit. And to allow that to echo and vibrate into the future that we foresee, to let that be the vibrational fuel that takes us to the future. I invite you today to lend your intention to this moment of restoration as we create this moment. Our wonderful Michelle Smith is going to come and share with us the energy of this day. And I ask you if you will offer this in a good way. I hope.
Come on, everybody. Why don't you stand up and sing along with us? Here's to the great peace of a brand new world. Here's to the beauty of the stars. Here's to the travelers on the open road. Here's to the dreamers in the bar. Here's to you, my new love. Nothing from above the day begins. Here's to you, my new love. With blessings from above when the day begins. The day begins. Here's to teachers in the crowded rooms. Here's to the workers in the fields. Here's to the preachers of sacred words. Here's to the doctors of the wheel. Here's to you, my little love, with blessings from above and the day begins. Yeah! Here's to you, my little love, with blessings from above and the day begins. Yeah! Here's to you, my little love, with blessings from above and the day begins. Here's to you, my little love, with blessings from above and the day begins. The day starts.
Thank you, Lord be band.
Thank you, everybody. Honored to stand and call the directions by your side. In the native indigenous European tradition, I invite us to open to the east. Welcome air. Welcome all beings who take to the air, the birds, the insects, the bats, the butterflies. We welcome the imagination, the beginning of a new day, the new moon, our intentions for restoration. And so it is. And we open to the south. welcome south. Welcome to all the creatures of prey who play, who walk on the earth with passion. We welcome the spirit of inspiration and transformation. We welcome the fire. We welcome you south in full day. So it is. Turning to the west. We open to the west. Welcome to all the creatures of the waters, the dolphins, the trout, the turtles, the little tadpoles, all those beautiful creatures of our deep, deep emotions. This place that reminds us of the setting sun, the letting go, the releasing, the dissolving. Welcome. So it is. We're now opening to the north, place of earth. Welcome, beings of earth, plant-eating creatures, and all the trees and plants, the soil, the mycelium, all those who turn the sun into the sugar that feeds life, our allies, our relations. Welcome. Be with here in our sacred bodies, our sacred bones, in this sacred place. So it is. Turning to the center. Welcome. Welcome. That way to the center, our source and our reclaimer, spirits. Welcome to the sun. Welcome to Mother Gaia, the earth, and the beautiful allurement that creates life together and brings us here to this space. We invite you to look across and see each other, what this day, what this magic, what this alchemy, what this relationship has brought. And know that you belong. So it is. Speak.
Everyone take a deep breath, please. Thank you, Michelle, for that. And as we take a deep breath, let's remember those out there that are going hungry, those that might be less fortunate than ourselves. Let's remember in our moment, if we're in restorative mode, then let's restore the balance of energy and love and compassion. In a good way, we invite you to come and feed the hungry.
Please sing along. For the beauty of the earth, for the glory of the skies, for the love which from our earth, over and around us flies, over and around us flies, Lord of all to thee we raise this our joyful song.
seated. And now as we're in restorative mode, we're going to call Susie Davis up and let us know how our efforts and through your gifts and through your generosity, we as Jubilee move forward. Susie?
Hello. Nice to be seen, nice to be heard. You know, it's kind of important at this time. Jubilee in Action is how we connect with the world, the greater world, and how we bring our love and our gifts out there to share. We have a table over on the left side of the foyer as you walk out that is a sign-up for the new JAMS project. It's the Jubilee Alternative Micro Shelter that is happening downstairs. The shelter is providing shelter and support programs for unhoused women who have income or jobs, do not abuse substances, and are close to finding permanent housing. Come downstairs after the service as well and enjoy some coffee and some conversation as we launch our JAMS project. There'll be more about that later in the celebration. On Saturday, May 7th, which is next Saturday, the World Labyrinth Day is World Labyrinth Day, when the Labyrinth Walks for Peace will be held across the globe. Johanna Manassi will be hosting a local walk from 12:30 to 4:30 p.m. that day. She has a beautiful full-size labyrinth at her home in Weaverville. And remember, any information that you need beyond what I'm saying, you can find on the website. We've got this lovely QR code that you can just scan, and it'll take you right to it. Please consider joining Asheville Racial Justice Coalition to receive weekly emails and simple things that you can do to help up-level life for BIPOC, which is, I always get tripped up on that one in our community. The Asheville City Council also, another point is considering plans to replace the 20 existing advisory boards with just 4 new ones. There hasn't been a lot of community involvement in that, and if you would like to voice your opinion about how to, if you want to learn more about the restructuring of these programs and make your opinions known, please get in touch with the decision makers. Save the date on Monday, May 15th at 5 p.m. for our Jubilee Racial Equity Potluck Social. Melody LeBaron will soon share the details. 11-year-old Gracelyn Lavender Mulkey is exhibiting her prints of her work in the hospitality room. So please go in and enjoy that. 50% of the sales of her artwork will go to help feed the hungry. Oh no, it's going to support JAMS. Yeah. Yay, Gracelyn. And just FYI down the road, if you're an artist and you would like to share your work, this room is available, and we just need to coordinate that. So see me after the service if you'd like to talk about that more. And we still need a few more gifts for the Via Transformativa. If you have a dance, a song, a poem, something you'd like to share during the celebration that's consistent with the theme of the day, please see me, and we'd love to get you sharing your gifts with the community. Now I have an announcement from Elizabeth about the board.
You do. Good morning, Jubilants, and happy May Day. My name is Elizabeth Likas, and I have had the honor of serving on the board of directors at Jubilee for the past 3 years. And it is time for me to rotate off along with another colleague, Jenny Farthing. I don't know if Jenny's here today. But it's that time of year where we talk to people, get people excited about serving. We have a long history of service and volunteering here at Jubilee. That's kind of what we do. Just real quickly, if you have served on the board at any time in its 32-year history or are currently serving, can you just please stand up? Thank you. So it's an exciting time to be at Jubilee. We are experiencing a rebirth, a resurrection, just kind of a reinvention and a reformation, just all kinds of re's. Restoration, right, for today. So we need you, and there are 3 different ways that you can help us out. We are recruiting for board members. We have up to 4 spots, and what will happen is as the outgoing, not old, the used up board members are rotating off. New board members will join this summer and will serve 3 years. And so what we ask you to do is prayerfully consider if you have been coming to Jubilee and feel like you kind of have a sense of what's going on, but you also really want to contribute and shape the way that Jubilee goes forward. Think about nominating yourself or having someone nominate you. Come see me. And a group of us, a committee of us, will be talking to people, reaching out, telling you a little bit about the expectations, what it's like to be a board member, what we do. That's one way you can get involved. The second way is to nominate somebody. If you know of somebody that you think would just be a really great addition to our board, please do so. The other thing is if there's one more way you can be on the nominating and selection committee, if you know a lot of people and you want to be a part of helping talk to people and reach out. And I do want to say that we are definitely wanting to diversify our board. Every community conversation we've had, the mission of Jubilee, everything we've done in a public realm recently has talked about the need to really look at sustainability, look at bringing back young people and families, and also having diversity in terms of identity and race and sex, gender, ability, anything. So we really want to diversify that. When Jenny and I leave, Michelle's going to be the lone woman on the board with a bunch of white men. And y'all, I know you know I say that to you lovingly. You know who you are. I love you guys. And we really need to look at who we are and what we want to become. So please prayerfully consider any of those 3 options. I'll be in the hospitality room after the service. You can talk to me. Also in the announcements, the Jubilee newsletter that goes out, my email is there if you'd prefer to email me. Thank you so much.
And now I believe we have a gift from our wonderful Jubilee singers.
Jubilee. The singers have a really special song for you this morning, one that reminds us that we really just need to stop sometimes and be still, to look up and listen.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Terry and Jubilee Singers.
They did a lot of prep work on this song, and it really shows they did an excellent job. Thank you.
Outstanding. Let's hear it again for our Jubilee Singers. I'd like to invite anyone that can ring a bowl or ring a bell, which I choose to do because I'm still challenged at the bowl myself. In this moment, as we're talking about restoration, have you ever heard the saying, that rings a bell? That little, yeah, but where's it coming from? Have you ever, in your periphery and perspective, heard a sound out in the woods and try to locate where it come from, not knowing exactly? And maybe that's what these bells are doing. Maybe that's why in meditation, we use the bells and the bowls to resonate and restore that language, the fluid language of nature and vibration, to be able to restore. Because in the beginning, wasn't all things created spoken into life, spoken with a vibration? So maybe the vibration is the creator. And as we translate the language of vibration and sound and light, maybe that's how we restore the future in a good way. How we create beauty, how we create the things that call us to our spirit, that bring back that childlike wonder. The decorations we decorate ourselves, adorn ourselves, to remind us of that childlike faithfulness, innocence. Call it back. Call it back. Ask you to rise again on this May Day. Again, let's appreciate and gratitude one another. Let's do one another and share the love and the holy peace. Hey, Mary, how you doing? Good to see you. Doing wonderfully. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Good morning. Peace to you, brother. Peace. How you doing? Doing good. Sam? We just want to show so much gratitude for this day and the beauty of the weather. Sitting here appreciating that one of the doors is open and that, you know, we are restoring the energy and the fresh air is coming in. We're able to breathe it in and breathe new life into what comes next for us. And so with everything that we're doing here at Jubilee, we're going to ask Amanda and Andrea to come up and share with what they're doing with their gifts in the world.
Good morning, Jubilee. Good morning. And good morning to those that are joining us online this morning. I want to say happy May Day to all. So just a few minutes ago, I was reading this order of celebration, and it said, Gift of Shelter, Amanda Kohler and Andrea. And I thought to myself, that's not exactly right. If I wrote it myself, I would say the gift of shelter is from Jubilee, right? I thank you all so very, very much for allowing us to have JAMS downstairs. And I just want to ask real quickly, does everybody know what JAMS stands for? Shout it out. What's JAMS? Alternative. It is advanced, though. We're getting there. It is. We're becoming more advanced all the time with your help. So it is an alternative microshelter. And again, I just want to say thank you so much. I'm going to introduce Andrea in just a moment, but what I'd like to do is invite all of you, if you have just a couple of minutes after celebration, to come downstairs and take a peek at JAMS. We've got some coffee, we've got a few little treats, and we'd love to have you with us. The other thing that I was going to mention in terms of the gifts this morning is that there are some very special ladies with us this morning, and I would like to ask them if they feel comfortable to stand up, please. These are the women of JAMS. Thank you. I know they appreciate that very much. Yes, you can be seated. I get kind of choked up a little bit, but the other gift is the gift that they give to me every single day, because they are giving me the gift of getting to know them. They are giving me the gift of getting to honor them and to help hold their hand, hug their neck, cry with them, celebrate with them every single day. And so I would love, and I know they feel the same, would love to give you all that gift as well, to get to know them and to celebrate with them. Lily, will you stand for just 2 seconds? Lily turned 60 yesterday, and we had a huge party for her. Yes. Yes, and Ed had a birthday yesterday. Yes. So, anyway, I just want to say, I was talking with Lily this morning, and she said that it was one of the best birthday celebrations that she had ever had. So, again, we appreciate your space very much. So, Andrea, you want to join me, sweetheart? And I want to just honor you in this moment and tell you that I really appreciate your courageousness, and I appreciate you being willing to be vulnerable with us this morning, okay? So come on, darling. Andrea.
Okay, sometimes life throws you a curveball. That was a lesson I learned a year ago. I lost my way then, and I've been fighting my way back ever since. One of the hardest parts of living on the streets is not being pulled into drugs, prostitution, or alcohol. In an attempt to end my life, I participated in all three. Last spring, I went to Bristol, Tennessee, hoping my mom would help me, but she was not able to. A few months later, alone, I walked from Bristol to Asheville. Walked. I've been here on the streets in Asheville since February. Thankfully, I discovered this program after staying in the Jubilee Cold Purple shelter. I'm thankful for you all and the space that you have created for us. Recently in the program, we made vision boards. This is my vision board. is full of the representations of things I wish, want, aspire to have, goals I want to reach. There are things I love, things I would like to learn, things I say to myself, and things that symbolize how I feel. If you look, you see these phrases. I want to take a moment to explain a few of them to share what they mean. Daring, defiant, and free symbolizes how I feel in my heart. I choose to address my fears. It's something I'm doing every day. Finding room for improvement, even in the most crowded of spaces means, well, have you seen how many of us are sleeping in the creation room? From death row to freedom is because I'm starting at the bottom and working my way up. Long live heavy metal is not what you think. It's a reference to the cosmos and the chemical makeup. Lay up my treasures in heaven is self-explanatory because I know where my treasures are in heaven. Ranger of the Lost Ark is a nod to Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is one of my favorite movies. I love Harrison Ford. And I love art. And lastly, I put the rainbow right above the picture of the Last Supper to symbolize God's promise to me. In conclusion, I want to say that no one is perfect, least of all me. But we are all aspiring to be better than we were the day before. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for your support.
Jubilee, if you will. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, ladies, for coming today. And thank you for being vulnerable. And thank you for being that living example that we're striving for, of restoring faith and trust and hope in one another. Jubilee community, look at how our efforts are affecting this community. The community beyond what we see right in front of us, and what we're doing. If we're going to restore anything, let's restore that. Not some building, not some name, but restore the faith, trust, love, and compassion for one another. So with that, I am so honored to bring up the acting head of our board, but also a close and dear personal friend of mine that I have much love for, and I'm so honored to introduce to you Michelle Smith.
Andrew just gave the whole sermon, so we're so glad you're here, and do go downstairs, it's beautiful. Oh, okay, how am I doing? Do I need to, okay. Yeah, so take a deep breath and hear these holy words, hear these ancient words. Hear these ancient words. Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. And Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. And from the Psalms, you have turned my mourning into dancing. And from Abraham, a group of consciousness from the non-physical dimension that comes through Esther Hicks, Everything you want because you believe you will feel better in the having of it. This is ancient wisdom and holy word. Thanks be to all that is wise and holy. All creation is wisdom and holy word.
All creation sings of wisdom in God.
Hallelujah.
I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And if you feel like I feel, baby, come on, come on, come on. Woo!
Let's get it on. Let's get it on.
Oh, let's love, baby.
Let's get it on.
Sugar.
Let's get it on.
Happy May Day, Jubilee. 1st of May, outdoor loving begins today. It's the first Sunday of May, and it's also International Garden Naked Day. Woo-hoo. And what a gorgeous maypole we have here, thanks to our amazing altar priestesses, Molly Pritchard and Julia Rose. Joanne Rose, darling, I'm so sorry. It's gorgeous. In the indigenous Celtic tradition, today is one of the 8 holy days on the wheel of the year. Exactly 6 months ago, on the opposite side of the wheel, at All Hallows Day, we entered the void time at Samhain season. And now, we've come through winter solstice, the return of the light, Imbolc, the spring equinox, and we find ourselves finally here at Beltane, the first day of summer on the wheel of the year. Remember, in the Celtic tradition, the seasons change on the cross-quarter days. And here in the Blue Ridge, as well as back in the old country, in the forests and meadows, in the country and the town, it's all about the dancing and the flirting and the mating. Bluebirds, goldfinches, ruby-throated hummingbirds, and all those who spend winter in the southern hemisphere have made their 3 or more 1,000-mile migration to our yards, to the woods, to build their nests for the next generation. And those eggs didn't just come from nowhere. The floral hoochie-coochie show is bursting loose. The edible red bud and the locust blossoms hang heavy in the trees. The quince and the dogwoods and the cherry trees making the pollinators drunk with nectar. In the forest, the trillium are up, and the pungent ramps and the truffles are popping up, early harbingers of the mushroom foragers. It's May Day, the beginning of Beltane. May Day is when the divine masculine makes his grand entrance into the story of creativity. If this holiday were a person, it would be a 16-year-old young adult with one thing on their mind. The stag king, embodied by a young male wearing antlers, marries the land, personified by the maiden, embodied by a priestess. Their ecstatic union ensures the well-being of the people by reminding us that we belong, and we, all of the creatures, we have agency in this expansive system of relationships we call Gaia, our home, our mother. And we aren't children anymore. We're initiates. We have a role to play in the grand story. this very morning, in and around these very mountains and around the world, masculine identified people walked into the forests and with great reverence felled a straight young hardwood tree. They trimmed its branches, sometimes singing songs, sometimes working in silence. And then together, they carried that tall pole into a field where feminine identified humans had prepared a place in the earth to receive it. In this holy symbol of union, this holy symbol of union was decorated with flowers and ribbons in preparation for the sacred ritual of creating a pole dance. Maypoles are not about children. Maypoles, as much as the Christianist colonizer culture would try to infantilize this ancient ritual, bless its heart, maypoles are about sex. Holy union. Beltane is about making love in the newly turned fields and not necessarily with the person you've set up house with. Not that there's anything wrong with that. May Day is a fiery, joyous, rollicking, sexy, licentious, holy day. Beltane is about desire. It's about pleasure. Beltane is about getting what we want. All creation is wise and holy.
We're all sensitive people with so much to give. I understand me, sugar, since we've got to be here. Let's live. I love you.
Let's get it on.
Ooh, let's get on. Ooh, let's get it on.
Sugar.
Oh, let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
I take issue with the glib notion that desire is the root of suffering, as some have interpreted the first noble truth of Buddhism. I'm convinced that this is a misinterpretation. Craving and obsession, sure, these are conditions of suffering indeed. But in my tradition, desire is the gateway to creativity. Desire is holy because the divine beloved loves us and wants us to be happy and wants us to have what we want, what we truly want, what we really, really, really want. Now, this doesn't sound very Christian, but Jubilee, we know that just because something isn't doctrinally speaking Christian doesn't mean Jesus wasn't into it. Just ask Mary Magdalene. We're all products of a history and a culture that consider desire and pleasure the furthest thing from holy. I mean, the places on the human body symbolized by this gorgeous maypole don't even have names that I can say on Sunday morning, not even in a place that celebrates creation. Richard Rohr reminds us, there are not sacred and profane things, places, and moments. There are only sacred and desecrated things, places, and moments. And it is we alone who desecrate them by our lack of insight and reverence. It is one sacred universe, and we are all a part of it. So what would be different in our culture and here at Jubilee if desire and pleasure were truly restored to holiness? How would we educate our young people to express their desire with a sense of play and joy, care and connection? What could it heal in your own life, in your own obsessions and compulsions, suffering? Today's passage from the Jesus teachings. Okay, well, first of all, it's from John, the gospel that's most kind of, well, mystical, or maybe just vague. I'm no theologian, but at this moment in the Jesus story, he's having breakfast with his fisherman disciples, including Simon, son of John, which John, I don't know, who is eventually going to become called Peter in that name change thing that happens to people in the Bible. And Peter is going to lead and build the movement after that amazing weekend that we celebrated a couple of weeks ago, where J-Man is no longer here in the physical. Anyway, he asks Simon 3 times, "Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me?" It's kind of dommy, right? And each time Simon says, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." Kind of sub. And each time Jesus says some version of, "Feed my sheep, tend my sheep, take care of the people, take care of each other." Why does he need to ask him the same question 3 times and give the same command 3 times? I don't know. I'm not really a follower of Jesus. I just used to kind of have a crush on him, and now we're really good friends. Mary Magdalene and I are really tight, and we all go, hiking together and have meals and hang out at the same events, So I was not there that morning, and I cannot say for sure. But I do know that Jesus, and everybody called him Jeshua back then, when they weren't calling him master, I'm just saying, I do know that he was part of a revolutionary zealot movement to get the Roman Empire the freak out of the Promised Land. And Nazareth was a hotbed of zealotry at the time. And his brother James was part of that movement too. And he also led a revolution of consciousness, restoring us to sanity, from a mindset based on fear to a mindset based in love. And both these movements are still alive and well today. The Roman Empire is a direct descendant of our is a direct ancestor. We're in a direct line in this empire. And it rose up from the same delusions of separateness that is the root of all of our suffering today. It sounds to me like Jesus really, really, really wanted something. He wanted the people, then and now, us all, fed and healthy and safe, which they were not at the time under the boot of the Roman Empire. And so many are not today under our current empire occupation. And that's what we want too, Jubilee. That's why we feed the hungry first thing and open our building as a micro-shelter. It's also why we aim to transform the systems that create hunger and houselessness and destruction of our earth to begin with. We're toppling the empire. I've been an activist my whole life. And as my spiritual practice has evolved, I wasn't able to continue to participate in movements that I cared about from a place of anger and struggle and resistance and making other people wrong and bad. It hurt my heart, it kept me unhappy, and it didn't seem to be working. It was no longer congruent with my practice of moving my own consciousness from fear to love. How then will I participate? I came up with a practice, and it's this. Name the behavior. Name the impact of that behavior. And then say what you want. Name the behavior. Name the impact of that behavior. And say what you want. And keep saying what you want. I'm convinced that like Jesus, the mystic, I'm convinced that Jesus, the mystic, really, really wanted us to have what we really, really want. Not merely not to be hungry, but to be free and satisfied and delighted and ecstatic, to experience communion and joy and dancing in holy relationship with each other and the creation and the creative source of divine love. Breathe deeply.
Don't you know how sweet and wonderful life can be? Let me love you. I'm asking you, baby, let me love to get on with me. Let me love you. I ain't gonna worry. Let me love you. I ain't gonna push you. I won't push you, baby. Let me love you. Come on, baby. Stop beating around the bush.
Let's get it on.
Oh, let's get it on. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
Here's what I do know. Desire is where manifestation begins. And we are allowed, encouraged even, to feel good and have a good time. And even as we join together to create a world that works for all the children of every species, everywhere, forever. So Jubilee, what do you want? I invite you now to take a hand. Take a sexy hand. What do you really, really want? So much. What do you want so much that it makes your body tingle with pleasure to think about having it? I can tell you some of what I want. It's my darling. I want neighborhoods, and we're going to go this way. I want neighborhoods and communities restored such that all the children will be able to play outside safely in the forest. Ooh! I want forests restored to be flourishing with life. Y'all carry on. You're doing a beautiful job. I want life and vitality restored to rivers and oceans. I want birds and insects and bats restored to the skies. I want pleasure and desire restored to sacredness. I want us all to know our deep connection and our belonging to each other and to the earth. And I want this for every child of every species, everywhere, forever. Are you with me? Say, oh yeah.
Let's get it on. Let's
appreciate it. Sort of daring. Now's the time when we offer our gifts of support that allows us to take care of this building and our wonderful band. Oh my gosh, aren't they great? And our staff. The first offering is to feed the hungry. It goes immediately in and out. This is the offering that restores and supports and nourishes this place and our ability to gather. So, and eventually, to hire our settled minister, who I believe is making their way to us even as we speak, even though we don't know who it is. So that does speak to why it'd be great to be on the board now as we're starting. We've come through the hard part, y'all. It's starting to be fun now. So I want you to please take out whatever offering you're going to give. And if you're like me and you give online, just imagine it in your hand. As we bless these gifts. Divine, beloved source, we ask that all that is given and all that is received be used for the highest vision of our lives, our world, and this community. May we ever know the abiding presence and the abiding love of that which created us, that which sustains us, and that which calls us to life. And so it is. I think there's some music. Yeah.
I believe in miracles. Where from you sex and play. I believe in miracles. Where from you sex and play.
Sex thing, y'all. Sex thing, y'all.
And a percentage of that offering goes to, even though it's for our operations, it's also, we take a percentage of that money and serve the world with it. And now we have one more offering around that. And I'm so delighted to introduce Karen Wallace Meeks. Yeah, from Pisgah Legal Services. Come in, doing revolutionary work.
Thank you all, and good morning. I tell you, they always say, never speak after a child or come on after a dog. Susie, you did not say I would have to follow Andrea and Michelle and a choir riffing on one of my all-time favorite singers, Marvin Gaye. Honest to goodness, my middle name was spelled the exact same way, G-A-Y-E. I don't know how you knew. It was awesome. I come here today, yes, speaking on behalf of Pisgah Legal Services, which is over on Charlotte Street, but really I'm speaking on behalf of more than 20,000 neighbors in Western North Carolina that nonprofit served last year because of partners like you, because of people like you. Thank you. Thank you. That was over 20,000 neighbors last year, over 20,000 the year before. That's over 40,000 in those 2 pandemic years. And just last year, of those 20-plus thousand neighbors, over 6,600 of them were children. So when I come here today, got to put these on, I want you to know that I'm thanking you on behalf of the mother who called and said, I need medical help. Now, that may seem odd, but we have lawyers embedded in several medical practices here in the area. She did need medical help. Her kids couldn't sleep, they couldn't go to school, they had headaches. And then one day, somebody showed me a picture. I could not have touched her little boy's face without laying my finger on a lesion. It was black mold in their apartment, and nobody would clean it up, and nobody would fix it, and they were renting. So yes, she needed medical help, and they got that, but they needed a lawyer, and they had to get out, and we had to help them find another place, which is not the easiest market in the world to find housing. And you can't just dump somebody down in a house and not assume they need pots and pans and towels and sheets. So we have social workers on staff who do that. In fact, we are one of the few civil legal aid groups in the state of North Carolina who have social workers. That work doesn't happen without partners like you. So you do more than open the door for a neighbor. You've held it. You've stood there and held that door. You've held it for the woman who couldn't leave her home because her abuser would not let her leave, and her kids, to the point where that the battery was taken out of the vehicle. So being ever resourceful, she got on YouTube, and one evening she figured out how to get that battery in that vehicle, and she called an attorney at Pisgah Legal, and she was met at the courthouse. That's because of you. So for all of those people who come to us, people with PTSD because they were in a war and they were at the VA hospital and missed a payment, and so somebody filed suit to have them kicked out of their apartment. We were there because you were there. For the people who are now coming to us to help with tax work because the mom of three only made, single mom of three, only made $7,000 last year and didn't know she could apply for her child tax credits. She came in about a week and a half ago. She was due $19,000 that was rightfully hers. She was able to get out of the apartment they were sharing with a relative who had not been particularly kind to the children, and she could pay her rent 6 months in advance and then work. That is the power, as you saw today. That is much of the power of what you are doing. If it's $5, if it's $10, if it's $1,000, whatever it is year after year, thank you for truly being a good neighbor, for opening the door for the next neighbor, for opening the door for the immigrant child who was left here in Asheville all alone. Thank you, because that builds community, it builds love, it builds peace, and it makes a much better Asheville for all of us. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Take a hand, Jubilee. And let's take ourselves out.
Remember, Jubilee, what we're doing. Thank you, Karen, again, for such a beautiful message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Ryan Crabtree and the World Beat Band and all that spiritual baby-making music. Thank you for the moment to come and to create. And remember, your gifts are appreciated, that each and every breath that you take is a gift. that you're a gift to us in a good way.
So go out, Jubilee, and make it all holy. Make your lives, your creations, and celebrate who you are and how we are. What do you really want?
We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We'll go there. We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. It may be hard, we know, and the road may be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. We know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. 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 Got us on a mountain top, burning like a silver flame, shining beauty and love, and Venus was her name. She's got it, yeah, baby, she's got it. Well, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire. Well, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire. Her weapons were crystallized, making every man mad. Black as a dark night she was.